another day sober. Today was, so I'm back from the gym now. Had the pre-workout again, which is crazy. Sometimes it affects me a lot, and sometimes it doesn't. It's weird. I think it has to do with what I eat. But today I was just like sweating up a storm and giving people who were staring at me at the gym funny looks. Because there's always a couple people who just like to stare at you at the gym. I'm not sure why. But that's like the testosterone boosting effect, I think. I just am less embarrassed about confrontation when I'm on that. So it's like, what are you looking at, dude? What are you looking at, dude? What's up, dude? Lots of like, so that's how I deal with that. Yeah, today, I mean, I'm already kind of starting to bargain with myself about this sobriety thing, so I think I need to beware of that. Be aware of that. Be aware. Like, we're going hiking this weekend, me and a couple friends, maybe, probably, and yeah, it's like, that's a trigger too, friends who smoke, and I hear that's one of the hardest things about sobering up is like if you have friends who smoke, you hang out with them and you just really want to be back in that. So yeah, I was thinking, hey, what if I do this whole week sober, and I do a good job, and then I have like a day on the weekend to celebrate or relax. But I know that in the past when I've done that, I just immediately go back to old habits and start smoking again daily. So I don't know. I don't like the idea that I'm done with weed like for the rest of my life. But the proof is in the pattern. Yeah, I don't think I've ever successfully like just had a high day and then not continued that. I don't think I've ever gone sober and then one high day and then like sober again. It tends to be sober, one high day. I could do one or two more. Why not? So yeah, that's a challenge. I don't like thinking about the future like this is it. That's I'm done with it. Because I like it a lot. And I like it a lot more than drinking. I like having something social to do with friends and, you know, get one or two things out of it. But, yeah. Thank you. Just got a package. Delivery. Man, sleeping last night. I mean, I took another sleep aid. Slept through the night, like 8 hours, but man, did I sweat like crazy, and woke up, and you know, when you're like kind of dehydrated and like your pee is like brown. Ugh. And I even drank like a bunch of water before bed, and I stay hydrated all the time. So, you know, my body's doing stuff. It's trying to cleanse or just get back to normal. So anyway, yeah, still a challenge, still like figuring out how to deal with it. Got even more great comments from people. A couple people reached out to me and they had watched my video and they heard me talk about like keeping myself busy. One piece of advice was to write a to-do list to give myself ideas of how to keep myself occupied. I'm like, that's a good idea. But lists don't really help, because if I'm alone, I can just say, screw it. Like, you know, I'm the only one in charge of that. So yeah, you know, I'm the failure, but who cares? Nobody's around to see it. But if I have like a commitment with a person where I have to be somewhere with other people, and if that person isn't like a stoner and we're not going to like a concert, then if I have to interface with people, I'm definitely going to remain sober, because that gives me anxiety. It's like, oh, they're going to meet me for the first time, and if I'm high, then they'll think that I'm like a high person all the time, which I kind of was, but that was more to cover up a problem. So I think that's what people see, and that's not the person I want to exude. People see people who are high in social settings, and they're like, well, why can't he be sober in social settings? And I know people who smoke weed would say, well, I like it more to be high in social settings, or it helps my anxiety, or I don't care what other people think. I mean, I think we all, I definitely care how people like assess me. I don't care if they dislike me, if their assessment is, oh, I don't like that guy, but I wouldn't want them to be like, I don't like that guy because he's a stoner. I want to give off like the best. I want to give off the best me I can. First impressions, there's that old adage that first impressions are important. You don't get a second first impression. Here's one thing I'm noticing. I have less anxiety about connecting with people when I'm sober for a few days. Connecting, like making eye contact, and then they look back at me, and then I smile and I go, hey, hey. That is less like, oh, what am I doing? Oh, I better look away. I hope they don't get offended that I looked at their eyes. It's a silly way to feel, but that's how I feel when I'm on this sort of like, gotta go and escape every night. So that's a positive. I left the gym. I was feeling really good, but not good in the same way that weed would make me feel. Like I was singing and like bopping along in the car and stuff. But it's different. It's a different kind of satisfaction. It's just kind of coasting. It's not really a high or a low. It's just like right in the middle, which is fine. But if you've had the highs, then you know that that's attractive. But then if you've had the highs, you also know that that's a dragon you're chasing. You always kind of want to get back to that high. And if you remain sober for the majority of the time, you can. But if you had the same habit that I had, you would just kind of, smoke every day, and it kind of lessens, and you could find concentrates, edibles, just kind of like pile it on, and again, you're chasing a dragon. I used to have anxiety, just even leaving my room in the morning, like getting ready. I would feel like paranoid when I was sober in the morning. I would wake up and I'd be like, oh, I have to go like out of my room to the bathroom. Oh man, that's like, I hear people getting ready in the morning, I have to be around people in the morning. I'm not ready. I'm not awake. I have to like start my day around other people. Now it's like, I have to start my day. So regardless who's out there, I got to go do it. It's a better feeling in the morning. I'm riding this sort of productive week. I'm doing well at work. I'm doing well in art. I'm talking to my friends more. The page views on my website are going up because I'm, updating it. And when I try, it seems to improve. I'm not a numbers guy. I try to think about like every individual reader, follower, friend. Like I want people to know that I think of them as human beings. I'm never ever going to tell somebody to subscribe. I'm never going to tell somebody to like something. I'm never going to say, you guys. Drives me crazy. I want to connect, and I feel like I haven't seen too many earnest connectors. Like, I don't see people who have this legitimate desire to just kind of share without profit. And that's always what I've wanted to do. I want to explore myself, my talents. I can only do what I want to do, and I can only do what I do. And I want that to sort of be in a database of human experience. I'm not saying like my unique experience is more important than anybody else's, but I have the ability and the privilege to make something. And not the drive, but it's in me to make things. If I'm not making things, I feel bad. So, like, for me, the enjoyment just comes from hearing how other people agree or disagree or criticize or commend. Like, I'm curious, and I don't feel like there's right answers. I was talking to my friend today about, like, well, sometimes you got to stop and work and stop having fun. But don't work too much, because sometimes you got to have fun. But don't have too much fun, because work's got to get done. But if there's work to get done, make sure you give yourself some fun every now and then. And it just seems like people's ideas about what humans are, what we're supposed to do, they change. Like, every individual person changes. And I could talk to one guy and he could be like, yeah, man, you gotta buckle down. You gotta work your ass off. And I could talk to that same guy a month later and he would be like, man, you gotta take it easy, just like coast for a while. And it's because people's advice reflects their situation. People want to share what they're experiencing, and I think that's the real interesting thing about humans, is that it's all grains of salt. Nobody really knows what they're talking about. You can study things and learn and just keep working at anything, and never mind, all of that was wrong. It was valuable when we thought it was right. When I thought it was right, it was cool, but it's wrong. And so I have to change. And, you see these people talk about, maybe, here's a good example, 10, 20 years ago, gay marriage, it was like a positive political thing to say that marriage was between a man and a woman. And, like, that would get you votes. And now it's marriage is between two people who love each other, which I agree with. But then people go, 20 years ago, this politician said between a man and a woman. And yeah, we all reserve the right to change our minds with new information. Social stuff changes. Language changes. People change. I think I think change is a big part of this project. I'm evolving. My excuse for the past year has been I live with this family that I'm not comfortable living with, and I'm not saying it's all on me, but like, my strategy in the beginning has changed. It's changed many times because I come in, I thought I knew one thing, and what I thought I knew was completely wrong. So I had to change, and then I changed like too hard, and that sent me into a downward spiral because I wasn't myself. I was kind of performing for someone else or for a different family, a different situation. So then it was like, no, now I went the complete opposite direction. And it's like, now I'm going to be fiercely myself instead of being, like, as much a part of this situation, this family, as I was before. And so that's even worse because it's like, well, what's Cory doing? He's being weird, first of all. He's acting like this, then he's acting like that. And then it's paranoia, and it's like, oh, what are they thinking about me? Yeah, so it's change is good. People change, embrace change, work through it. It's hard, it's scary. Every few hours, I want to go back to what I was doing, and then that feeling passes, and I just keep doing what I want to do, which is create, be friendly, connect with people. It's definitely something that I want to strive to be. And I know it's better. I know it's better than what I was being, at least in this situation. I know it's better. It's harder. Harder things are often, the better thing is often harder. And that's why it's better, because it takes more. And it takes more like work and planning and foresight and hindsight. And yeah, it's hard to be your best self. I mean, here's another example. My coworker I have a small team that I work with, and one of them has a bum knee and lives far away, so she tends to work from home like all the time. And my other coworker, who comes in about 3 days out of the week, lives 2.5 hours from work, so it's quite the commute. It's 5 hours if there's traffic per day. But he's been staying home because his wife has been sick. So I've been in the office by myself with no one, like not even a manager, keeping track of where I am. And I could just sit at home, work from home, get some work done, but, be high and who cares, play video games. Today I was like in the office, and I could have brought my laptop home. Tomorrow's Thursday. I could have brought my laptop home, worked from home tomorrow, worked from home Friday. No one would have known. But I kind of foresaw that I would be tempted. And I also kind of foresaw that I was being trusted with that responsibility and the commitment, and nobody's watching. Nobody's checking on me. But I said I would do a job, and they're paying me to do that job. And it's an opportunity for me to prove to myself that regardless of whether or not somebody's watching me, I still want to be a good person, and not take advantage of people. Small example, so I'll often drive the speed limit when there's nobody around, just because it's like, why not? I mean, I'll get there eventually anyway. It's actually other people that make me drive a little bit faster, like 5 miles over. Because I don't want them to be like, oh, what's this joker doing? Driving so slow. He's probably high. I'm kidding. But I feel like what we do when nobody's watching is who we really are. And I like to think I'm a good person when nobody's watching. I like to think that I follow the rules when they make sense. I don't follow dumb rules. But I know that dumb rules is subjective. So I embrace structure. I embrace society, but I also want it to change. So, like I said earlier, grain of salt. You have to take everything with a grain of salt, because everything changes, which is a great song by 8-Bit Betty, if you want to Google that. Search for that. Everything changes, but the patterns that we form define who we are to other people. Because you can tell a racist joke to your friend who knows you're not racist, and you could get in the habit of doing that, because it's like, well, we're friends, like, I'm not racist, so I can tell this joke, haha, white, anyway, you can have this pattern form where I feel comfortable telling this joke, and you tell that joke one time where somebody overhears it, and for the rest of their lives, that person knows that you're a racist. They don't know you. They don't know that you're not racist. They just know that you told a racist joke, and around them, they might laugh, or they might be the person that you're telling the joke about. So we're remembered through other people. We're remembered through other people, but what we do when nobody's watching is how we build the habit that other people see. I've been opening doors for anyone since I was like 7 years old. And the other day I opened a door for these two people, husband and wife, I think. And he said, "You open the door for all the old people?" Which is kind of sad. You know, I'm not looking at the person and being like, this person needs my help. I'm looking at the situation and going, I have an opportunity to do some good here. I can take a couple extra seconds and hold the door. I mean, it's like convenient. It's less awkward because people's getting the door slammed in their face. It just doesn't make sense to not do that. But here's this guy who thinks that I'm opening the door for him because he's older than I am, and not because I just have this habit of doing that. So when he asked me that, he said, "You open the door for all the old people?" And I said, everybody. Open the door for everybody, and it's my pleasure. And when he left, this was actually out of Five Guys, when he left, he like waved goodbye to me, and I hadn't talked to him at all. And I kind of felt like it was endearing, you know. I was just sitting there waiting for my order, and he got up with his wife, and they walked out, and as he was going, he was like, "Bye." And I was like, "Bye, man." Like, I made an impression, and it took no effort except just that pattern in me. The pattern that I had to work to build because I didn't have it. I was never, like, you're not innately nice. I think people are innately lazy, and we have to sort of train ourselves to do a little more, to think a little harder, to envision another person a little further away from ourselves. So, again, thank you for all the support. This was kind of a challenging video to make because I'm tired from the gym. The sun's going down. I wasn't sure how much light I'd have left, but I was thinking I'd just pop in and say something, and, you know, it's pretty cathartic to just kind of talk and just kind of yell to the void. So, thank you for receiving my void yell, and I hope that I hope you got something out of it. I don't say that with ego. I don't want you to think like I don't want you to put me on a pedestal. I just want you to think of me as your equal. And I know the same sort of things that you do. I think through the same problems that you do. I just have a different perspective. And so does everyone else. And I would love to hear more people's perspectives. It helps me understand the world more. Helps me understand the zeitgeist more. So yeah. Thanks for watching. Day 3.